Good morning, YouTube. I have a Tacoma here. I'm gonna pull this engine out and we're gonna talk about it, okay? Welcome to the YouTube channel. And to make an extremely long story short,
exactly.
yeah. Salutations, YouTube. These shocks are stiff. Okay, what I have right here is a second gen Tacoma. I believe it's a 2012. And it's got some goodies on it. So, we were going to put some cams and springs on this thing, and the last time I dynoed this truck, it was hitting 400 horses. And we're kind of at the limit of the 1GR before things start kind of getting explodey. And I don't want explodey, I want longevity. So the customer and I had a good conversation, and we decided that we're just gonna completely build the engine. So that's what we're gonna do. So I need to go ahead and get the engine out of this guy, and then here later on in the video we'll talk about what's the action of the plans. Yeah. So to work. Supercharger. It's really stiff, so I'm gonna start pulling here in a second.
Let me get some. Will I be able to do it by hand?
Yeah, here once I pull on it. Ready?
Okay. Almost there. Okay.
It's off?
Yeah.
So I already took the dry belt bracket and stuff like that. We have our organizing totes here, and I'm Ziploc bagging and everything and labeling it. So we know the engine's going to be at the machine shop for a while, and it's going to be a while before I can get to put it back together. So I got to make sure I'm somewhat organized as I'm taking it off. So let's talk a little bit as to why we're pulling this engine and why we're forging it. And this setup that he's on right now, he's already approaching 10 psi, and we're gonna do cams and valve springs, and the cams open longer and they don't over gap that much, so we're gonna be losing boost from adding the cams. On top of that, also adding a bit of power, and then we're gonna drop the pulley down some more and try to make more get the boost back up to the level that we wanted. But in other news, or not other news, but pretty much now what I would like to do is I want to get the supercharger off. That way I can get to the fuel lines, disconnect the fuel lines. Disconnect the fuel lines, and we can start working on also getting the exhaust manifolds off and start, I think I can disconnect the main ECU harness from inside and then yank it through, and then just drape it over the engine, and then we can pull it out. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and take the radiator off and the fan clutch and stuff like that out as well. So it's just a lot to do, and let's just get to it. Okay, so I got the exhaust front drive shaft off, all that stuff I need to get out of the way. The catalytic converters are actually failed on these things, like pretty bad. Let's see if I can get it to do this. Oh, you can't even see it. Yeah, there. Oh, and it's gone. Yeah, see? It's the new free-moving catalytic converters. It's a feature. No, that's not how things are supposed to be around here. I got to working yesterday. I still need to take the radiator out. I think I can take the actual engine out without having to pull out the radiator, but I have one concern, and that is there's these studs that you put on for the supercharger to extend out 2 pulleys, and they're right there and there, and I have this like fear that when I get the engine off of the mounts to move forward, it's just gonna swing and penetrate this not so cheap radiator. And because it has an aftermarket front bumper, it's gonna have to come out to get the radiator out to get to the hardware of the radiator that's back there. So that's great. And if I seem a little unenthusiastic, it's because it's the morning again. It's actually the next day. Yeah. The coffee hasn't set in yet. It needs to. Desperately needs to. But I'm gonna keep going at this thing. I need to finish separating the wiring harness from the engine, and then, or from the body actually. We're gonna leave the harness on the engine, then take the engine out, and then we can categorize and then separate the harness from the engine. So, still got a lot of stuff to do. I'm gonna get back to it. Excuse my little mining flashlight, but this thing is awesome. I live off this thing. So we're literally just about there now. What I have done is I went ahead and disconnected the power steering pump, so it's kind of just laying down in there for right now. I know you guys probably can't see it very well, but yeah. So the power steering pump is just separated. I'm just laying it off to the side. Same thing with the AC compressor. I just unbolted it and left it off to the side. It's got rubber lines on both ends, so I'm not worried about hurting any of the lines. The only thing that's left to do up top here is the heater hoses and the fuel lines. I'm saving those for absolute last because I have to figure out a way to plug them, and I don't know how I'm going to do that just yet. But I got to undo the torque converter, which was interesting because I never had to deal with one of these before like this in any way. These trucks are usually super solid, and there's actually nothing wrong with this one. We're just trying to make more power out of it. So right down there we go. Right there is the flex plate and the torque converter bolts. So I got to figure out how I'm gonna balance both holding the crank and taking that out, and then undo the harness from the transmission and then unbolt the transmission, and then it's yanking time. I'm like 10 hours deep on this thing. Now I could be a little faster on it if I didn't care about being organized, but I've been bagging and tagging everything, and I have this giant tab here with all the parts, and then everything is labeled as need be. So when I go to put the truck back together after the engine is redone, I know where everything goes, which is muy bueno. So back to my misery. Well, I made a mistake and I didn't hit record. But we have the transmission out. I was just gonna unhook it and leave it in the truck, but once I started unhooking it, I was like, well, might as well take it out. That's what we're doing. Now I can undo the motor mounts after this, and then we can go ahead and yank the engine out from up top.
Oh, you're recording now.
Pull it and it tightens more.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. That's not just put this thing. You want me to go check my Tacoma? I think I have one in my Tacoma.
You pronounce Tacoma funny.
Tacoma.
You like Tacoma, y'all.
Bring it down.
All right. 10 years later, and I have finally got the engine out of the truck. Oh my God. Took way more than I thought it was going to. I think I spent a total of like almost 14 hours pulling this engine out. And it might be more because I was categorizing every single item and bolt that I took out, and then bagging it and labeling it and making sure that I know where they go when I go to put it in. It was really surreal because like the truck was really torn apart, but there wasn't any like nuts and bolts laying around, so that was interesting. So interesting. But what I really want out of this engine right now is I need to take it down to a lawn block and get it ready for the machine shop. So there's still a lot of tear down to go. It's not going to be on this episode. It's probably going to be on the next episode. So this one's kind of a short one, so I'm a little sorry about that. But it's not much I can do about it for right now. It's like 6 o'clock on a Friday evening, and we got a Road to Jamboree episode to film tomorrow. But yeah, I ended up actually taking the transmission out of it as well, just because I thought about leaving it in there and then just kind of like strapping a strap around the frame, holding the transmission up, but I didn't really want to do that, so ended up taking the transmission out. It's so skinny, just so skinny. It's really crazy how tiny these transmissions are. But as far for the internals on the engine, we went with Brian Crower. So no one actually has pistons out right now in the shelves for a 1GR. And if there is, comment down below and let me know, because I need to know. Brian Crower says they can cut us a set for like $1,200. That's actually not too bad considering what we're getting, and they're made for us, and they'll make them at the specifications that we asked them to. So that's going to be fantastic. Fantastic. So we'll do their street rods with fresh cut pistons. Then we're going to get the crank balanced, the deck resurfaced, have the heads port and polished, and then also do get ready for meth injection. The supercharger is going to be sent out to get rebuilt and then polished. And yeah, I mean, this thing, we're doing a new set of cams on it, so I don't know if that's how much power that's going to bring. It's going to be interesting because we don't know what we're going to get out of it. So that's going to be the adventure of this road that we're dealing with. So yeah, guys, I am done. It is 6 o'clock. It's past 6. It's almost 7 on a Friday. So I'm going to bed. Not bed. What am I saying? I'm going home. I'm going to clean up my mess, and then I'm going home. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for stopping by. If you enjoyed the episode, hit that like button, hit the comment. If you want to hit the little bell icon that lets you know when I post another video, because it helps with the algorithms, I believe. Yeah, I'm done. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.